After dozens of children, which means a lot of 12 groups of children, then it becomes alarming. Not after the first one.
Exactly.
You full of shit. All right, let's keep going.
Who were pregnant.
Who were all pregnant. By the way,
So
all right, where
these
them children
these
at?
little girls had babies by this man. Where the kids at?
Where they at? Where the
Where the
children?
kids at?
There's dozens of children we supposed to know about by now.
Look,
Where they at?
if he had dozens of children, that means that he got at least like 100 grandchildren out here. Where they at? Or
Where they
something.
at?
Where they at? But okay, keep going, keep going.
The FBI quickly got involved.
The FBI quickly got involved? That's a lie. The FBI quickly got involved. FBI don't ever quickly get involved. FBI builds cases on
I
niggas
was
for
just about to say
decades.
that.
They don't ever quickly. The police will quickly get involved. FBI quickly got involved and what? And didn't convict him on any of the things that y'all saying? They didn't charge him with none of that? Okay. That's a lie. The FBI said Jacob York came to them. The FBI is on record. Sheriff Seals is on record saying Jacob York came to him, and Sheriff Seals ain't even the FBI. He the sheriff. So it wasn't they wouldn't have been able to just quickly get involved based off of some calls from, and they gonna fuck up with that too, because they trying to say that they got involved because of the calls from the hospital. So we're gonna see whether or not that holds up. It's only been a minute. So far, no hundreds of children missing on Tamaray. That's a lie. 1993 was not Tamaray, so that's another lie. It was 476 acres, not 400 acres. I'm counting that as a lie. No outsiders allowed entry is a lie, because I'm an outsider. I didn't live on Tamaray, and I was allowed to enter. They were not investigating missing children. That's a lie. You were there on building code violations. You ain't mentioned that, because that's going to sound stupid. Armed men was the security. So all this armed man shit, I'm counting that as a lie. You were not met with armed men, and you're the police, and you just said, okay, I'll see y'all later.
Right.
Decades.
They didn't pose a threat.
Right. Decades, and they came on the land. Decades. Sheriff Seals went on the land himself to carry out the building codes. So decades or 1993 to 2001. So that's a lie. It's about decades. There were no dozens of children hospitalized is another lie. The FBI quickly got involved is another lie. All right, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 lies in 60 seconds. And it's 25 minutes. Let's play.
Planning a raid on the compound to save the hundreds of children living behind the gates.
That's another lie. The raid didn't have nothing to do with saving children. Raid was not to save the children. That's a lie. Because you locked the children up, put them in DFATs, and then you tried to coerce them into giving false testimonies against Dr. Melikazi York. And you put guns to them same children's heads. You want to tell that truth? That when you came onto the land, you put the guns to the children's head. We got the children on record saying that. Right? That they had guns to their head earlier, as young as 2 years old.
That's crazy.
And were forced to walk on the hot ground. You know what I mean? Not given any water. Held at gunpoint. Cussed out. You weren't there for no children. You know what you were there for. All right. Let's see.
But the FBI was afraid of having a repeat of the attack in Waco, Texas, a cult raid which saw dozens of young children murdered.
That's not true. They weren't afraid because they had refrigerated vans outside of the compound. They weren't afraid of Waco. They wanted another Waco. Waco, Texas, you know that.
Yeah.
Situation. Okay. So we got to count that. There were refrigerated vans outside the compound in case they had to put with body bags in it. So they were ready for a slaughter. So stop it.
It sparked mass hysteria.
They didn't think we were going to be peaceful.
Huh?
They didn't think we was going to be peaceful.
Yes, they did. They knew we were going to be peaceful.
they were up against until one 7-year-old girl escaped the compound.
That's a lie. So is it one 7-year-old girl? Watch this. First of all, we got to count this as one of the biggest lies. Why so? Let's read the title of the video. Title of the video says, cult leader thinks he got away until 11-year-old exposes his dark secret.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how old they just said she was?
They said she was 7.
All right, let's hear it again.
Art mass hysteria. The FBI would have no idea what they were up against until one 7-year-old girl escaped the compound.
Okay. You see that?
They said she escaped at 7.
But she's 11, though. She was 11.
That's crazy.
Or she was 7. Or one of them.
I
Right?
thought she was older than that. Once you get deeper into the documentaries,
She
the
is
age
older
keep
than that.
changing.
She's Nikki Lopez.
Yeah, but I'm saying the age kept changing. Like this the
Yeah.
first time they gonna say 7 now, then it's gonna change again, then it's gonna change again.
Yeah. So one 7-year-old girl, that's a lie.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lie based off their own title. Because they stupid. All right. Nikki Lopez wasn't 7 years old when Tah Faise was here. She wasn't 7 in those days. She was an adult. You see that? You hear me?
Because how old is she supposedly? Because
I don't know how old she is now, but we'll say on the land, she was in her 20s. Because she was sleeping with Kush. And Kush was 13, 14 years old. He told me this himself.
mm-hmm.
She was grown, and she admitted this in the transcripts. She said she did.
Mm-hmm.
Under oath. So in the transcript, she admitted to being 20-something on the land. So that 7-year-old girl escape shit is a lie. It's just a flat out lie. Can people flat out lie? Yes.
Yeah.
In this whole documentary, they're doing it. All right, we got a big list. Let's keep going. Says she escaped. That's a lie.
Before it was too late, she was the only one who could expose the truth.
That's another lie. If she's the
not
only
the
one,
only one. She's not the
yeah.
only one.
If she was the only one, let's put that in quotations. She was the only one. That's a lie, because who's Habiba Washington? If you're talking about exposing something, who's Habiba Washington? Who's Farasha Muhammad? Who's Leah York? Who's Tariq Noel? Who's Barbara Noel? Who's Jacob York? Who's any of these people who came out? What is the nigga name? LaRoche. Who the LaRoche people? I can't remember their whole name. Eddie LaRoche, I think. Who Ebony Hill, Sakina Parham. Who she was the only one? You stupid. That's another lie. There were many false witnesses that came forth.
It's 1977 in New York City. 2-year-old Nikki is living with her mother in a...
Boom.
Okay,
So let's
she's
do
2
the
years
math.
old. Yep, she's 2 years old. And
Let's
19.
do the math. You ready?
Yep.
So if 1977, Nikki is 2 years old,
Mm-hmm.
how old will she be by the time we get to even just 1993? Anybody want to go ahead?
She's like gotta be in her 20s, bruh.
Okay. 20 what?
All right, she's 2 years old. I'm not really all that great with math, but she's definitely in her 20s. Look, it's 1 o'clock
That
in the
would be
morning.
26, wouldn't it be?
All right, so if she's 20, if she's 2 and it's 1977, she's gonna be 22.
I'm about to do some math.
I don't know, but she's 20 something, bruh. She's
So
20
that would have been
something.
16. She would have been 16,
Only
19.
that's some insane ass shit. I ain't gonna count. I
Oh,
What?
I'm
just
not
did the
adding
math.
the 2. I get it. Hold on.
What's
Yeah, so
insane?
she's 2 in 1977 and then 1993.
My fault. So it's insane that
Somebody do the math. Anybody got the math?
She's 20.
77,
She'll be 20?
She'll
Yeah,
be
because I got to add
20.
that 2. I'm like 18. All right, so she would have
look,
been 20.
when Tom Ray was built,
Huh?
are you saying she would have been 20 when Tom Ray was built?
Oh, 97 would be 20? Hold on, we missing something.
Yeah, she
Ain't
would have
that
been
16?
20 because if she was born in 1977 and the Tom Ray was built in 1993, wouldn't she be like 20 years old?
Right.
77, 78, 79.
She would have been. I think she would have been 16
Why the fuck am I counting like that? 78,
in
Hold on, hold
93.
on.
79,
Three,
90.
three,
Yeah.
10.
Seven,
Yeah, she'll be 16.
23.
96, 97.
What? Yeah, they math wrong. I don't think she born in 77.
I don't think she won a night, and she would have been a mother by then. I don't know. The numbers I'm getting is crazy, but look,
If she 2 in 77, she would have been 16. Yeah. I'm just doing the math real quick though. Still, 16 is 3. 93. Yep. She would have been 18 because you got to add the 8. You got to add the 2. Yep. So she would have been 18. So she would have 18 in 93, which means that in 2000, the year 2000, she would have been 25. That makes sense.
yeah, yeah. I know I
Okay.
wasn't tripping. Yeah.
All right. So 2001, she would have been 26. So she would have left the what? She would have left the she would have escaped the compound in what year? In 1982. Because she would have been 7 in 1982. So she would have left the compound in 1982 before it existed.
Hold on, but you gotta factor in that she did mention that she was at the original when he was in New York. That's where she met him and stuff. So she was already like in his teachings heavily already when they were in New York. We're just talking about Georgia. So she
Yeah.
was there before Georgia. She was there in New
Yeah.
York before they moved.
She was there in the Ansar Allah days.
So are those years that we're not counting in is those that year or whatever? Like you get what I'm
That
trying to
doesn't
say?
even make sense. Because even still, this is why I have to get more brothers on here, like his son and them, because they understand it like better than I do. It still don't make sense
It don't.
because you were on Tamaray.
I get what you're saying. I like you get what I'm saying though. Like during those years, that's what she was at in real time. But what they're saying is when she was like 7 years old, she escaped the compound, and the
She
years don't
escaped
add up.
Tamaray. Tamaray is the compound.
Right, and right, but Tom Ray wasn't even made during that
That's what I'm
time.
saying to you.
Like,
That would have meant she escaped the compound in 1982.
nah, I'm agreeing with you fully. It's just that like it's just so crazy when that's not even the truth. She really was in New York back when she was younger, and it's so different than what the hell they trying to say in that documentary. It's mind fucking me right now.
They're
Like,
lying along the way.
right, that's crazy. It's just a
Somebody said
mind
the
fuck.
math not mathing. Okay, this is what I'm trying to tell y'all. This is what they've been doing. But we don't get to tell, like, people don't ask us, like, yo, go through it. Because you're listening to it and watching it with the sensationalism and the
Yeah.
emotion behind it and the pathos and all that they throwing in there and the
Cause I was
children and all
really
that.
sympathizing. Like I'm an empath. Like I'm very empathetic. So that's why I asked, like, what the fuck? But when now we breaking it down,
It
it's
don't even
just
make sense,
really
do it?
crazy how much they lied though.
Exactly. Do you think somebody who's 58 years old could have slept with anybody 1,000 times a week?
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, you start having
You niggas
problems at
niggas
that
my
time.
age, exactly. Niggas my age, I'm 27, ain't having
Okay.
sex 1,000 times a week.
Oh damn. I
The
don't
amount
know.
of people they were saying he had to have been sleeping with or doing anything with, he would have had to been sexually active 1,000 times a week when they did the math, when he broke it down.
I'll be real. I'm younger than both of y'all. I can't do it.
Nobody can do it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have enough time.
Then that mean
And
that's all he doing.
he was writing books all the time
Yeah.
and
Something
teaching
adding
on the
up.
land all the time and throwing events, helping the people that was in the hospitals, going to go visit all the time, doing philanthropy work all the time, and you got time to be with thousands of people a month. When you do the math, they're lying. You can see that. When they block us from coming on the blogs, when they block us from talking, when they block us from coming on the podcast, when they block us, then it's like the world is like, why we ain't getting no questions answered? Because we're not allowed. 1440 Tah's song When he said Free Dr. Malachi's New York, the Shade Room cut out the Free Dr. York part.
Yep, I noticed that.
This is bigger than what people think. So we've been saying it's stupid, but we're not being given the platforms, which is why I've been fighting for hours. We're not being given the platform to be able to show y'all how stupid it is. Let's keep going, though. We just started. We're only a minute and 30 seconds in. And we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 lies, the latter of which don't even mathematically make sense. All right, let's keep playing.
A small apartment in Queens, New York, a neighborhood riddled with crime and violence.
There was a lot of gangs. There was drugs everywhere. Heavy on crime, heavy on murder, especially on Bushwick Avenue.
Every day, as Nikki's mom leaves for work, she experiences the brutality of the streets of New York. She thinks about little Nikki. This is not the world she wants her to grow up in, but with little money, the single mom doesn't have many options. But one day, everything changes when Nikki's mother is approached by a man in a long white garment. He hands her a book and points at the address printed on the cover. That night, she becomes
The book that's a lie. I just want to count the book as a lie. The book that they handed her is Sacred Wisdom of Tahuti. In the Ansar Law days, okay, another lie. The book, I just want to count that. The book is a lie. Just because I can. The book is, why would you even pick up? Who said you could just pick a book and just have them hand?
filled with curiosity and reads the book cover to cover.
When you open that book up, that's not even the same time
She
frame.
becomes filled with curiosity and reads the book cover to.
He's Reverend Dr. York in this book, not Imam Isa. That's another lie. I'm gonna put that twice. Wrong book. That counts as 2 lies. Wrong book when you open it. It's just all wrong.
To cover, finally feeling that her prayers and hopes for a better life are being answered. Immediately, she decides that she will visit the man the next day. As she walks down the street, she proceeds with her usual caution, but as she approaches 717 Bushwick Avenue, she feels the air around her begin to change. Slowly, she hears the faint sound of a choir singing. As she walks in, she sees children laughing, playing, and running around freely in beautiful gardens. She comes face to face with an entire community, a community who preaches about their struggle while lifting each other up. After this first meeting, a new routine starts for the young mother. She begins attending the gatherings regularly, finally finding a place that feels like home. Slowly, the streets of New York feel safer with the help of this new community. And as the years go by, Nikki's mom starts to change. She finally sees a future for her and her kids, one that is hopeful and full of possibilities. Nikki, now 7 years old, starts to become more and more aware of her mother's faith, and for the first time since her mom's discovery, she tags along to a sermon with her. Nikki's mom watches her daughter as she enters. Seeing her child carefree and surrounded by such peace and joy brings tears to her eyes. Behind this safe community is one man who made it all happen. It's charismatic preacher, Dr. Dwight Malachi York.
He could walk in this room and get along with everybody. He knew how to bring people together, and that was his personality.
The community, known as the Nawabian Nation, had its roots in New York City back in the 1960s. At the time, the city was an even more dangerous place to live, especially for African Americans, who faced daily discrimination and violence in the years following segregation. Racial tensions were high, and the streets of New York were no less forgiving. Muggings, drug deals, and violent crime were a part of everyday life. So for many, the new community offered more than just a spiritual and cultural liberation. It was a safe haven for Black residents in New York and across other cities along the East Coast.
For people of African descent, our history, our culture were literally severed by slavery. So who are we? Here comes Malachi York and says, oh, I have an answer to that.
You are the original man, Asiatic black man, who makes his own agreement standard.
That's a lie. All right, so he didn't teach that. Even in that teaching, he was going over what was being taught by Fard Muhammad and Elijah Muhammad and the what do you call it, Nation of Gods in the Earth. We're repeating that. You see, and so he didn't teach that. He didn't teach you were the original man and make a that wasn't his teaching. So that's a lie. 5% teaching is not his. So that was not his answer. He said, you are supreme beings. That's his teaching. Y'all still here? Y'all sleep?
No, I'm awake.
All right. 5% teaching is not his. They're taking something from 1992, by the way, that they just played the audio from. That's 1992. So how the fuck we get from she being 7 in the 70s to the 80s? How we jump all the way up to 92 when he was on Mount Zion? So that's another lie.
The father of civilization and God of the universe.
And York says, well, why can't we have our own communities? They're consciously planned for people of African descent.
And if you're not black, you don't belong in this room. All right now. It's a black thing. That's right.
Damn, it's crazy because they really just taking pieces.
They taking
Pieces and
clips
pieces. Yeah, I
to
ain't no
support their
Black
narrative.
Mirror. Yeah, on God.
Decades building this community, he often spoke about fighting for Black Americans and had ties to the Black Panther movement. On the side, he was also a musician, producing his own smooth jazz, funk, and disco records. He was an artist, an activist, and most importantly, the leader of the Nuwaubian nation. His message of self-empowerment and strength only grew stronger into the 80s, and that's when, in 1986, Nicki's family takes a big leap of faith. At just 11 years old, Nicki officially moves into the compound in Bushwick, New York.
That doesn't make sense. So now they're saying she moved in at 11. Where the sister at? She still here?
I'm still here. I'm listening.
Okay, you doing the math with me still? She moved in at 11 now. Remember, she left the compound or escaped the compound at 7. And now she moved in at 11. That's a lie. And then people need to be asking themselves, which one is it? A lie don't care who tell it, so it don't matter which one is it. They both lies. So either she escaped at 7 or she moved in at 11. That don't make sense because they liars. All right, let's play.
New York. Along with her 2 younger siblings, she's promised a roof over her head, protection, and the assurance of a better, brighter future.
It was an exchange from the hard knock life of being on the streets to moving into a community that was completely secured and protected by our own people.
But with their new lives come new rules, new customs, and ultimately a completely new way of life.
My wardrobe changed, how we ate changed. We would study the Quran. We learned Arabic from Arabic teachers.
The spiritual leader is particularly fond of Nicki and her siblings and makes sure they're well fed, properly dressed, and kept entertained. He pays them close attention, greeting them warmly, checking in on their well-being, and ensuring they're included in community activities. For Nicki, the attention feels comforting, special. In a way, she's found a new father figure to look up to, someone both protective and powerful.
A little after I joined the community, my mom became one of his wives. That meant I was one of his children, and I looked up to him. That's my dad.
Dr. Malachi Dwight York is the center of the Nuwaubian nation. He is revered as their leader and their savior. He is the provider of safety and hope. By this point, there's over 1,000 members, and their community center in Bushwick is becoming increasingly crowded. It comes to a point where it's clear to York that they've outgrown the city streets, and a new chapter needs to begin.
A physical state with our own passports and our own tax system. I'm talking about our own nation. But no one tells us what to do but us.
That's all this shit lies. He wasn't talking to no small group of people. He was talking about all of melanin dominant people. So they trying to make it seem like and that ain't even why he left New York. All right.
Dwight York decides to build a new home for his congregation, and it will be over 900 miles away from New York, in the rural farmlands of Putnam County, Georgia.
We're driving cross country, You see the rural areas that we weren't accustomed to seeing. We pulled onto the property and it was just open land. It was amazing.
The property was out in Putnam County in a very rural area, a little over 400 acres. Isolation was very much a factor. They were coming to Georgia. They were going to form their own nation, not subject to the laws of the United States.
Before York starts building in Georgia, he decides to fully overhaul the Nuwaubian nation doctrine, drawing from different cultures, religions, and mythologies from around the world to create a new identity for his community. He makes drastic changes to his appearance in his quest. One moment, taking on a Western persona, donning cowboy hats and boots. Next, he claims to be an extraterrestrial being called Yanan, and even going as far as calling himself Chief Black Thunderbird Eagle while wearing a feather headdress. He moves from one identity to the next until he lands on the perfect one that will define the new Nuwaubian nation. York gathers his followers for a sermon. There, he proclaims the true origin of the Nuwaubians, that they are, in fact, descendants of ancient Egyptians from a different planet. His loyal followers welcome their newfound identity and quickly get to work. They begin building. A massive sphinx head is erected, towering over the previously abandoned farmland. Artists are hired, murals are painted, and before long, dozens of elaborate structures and several large pyramids begin to take shape. With each new structure, the place transforms into something so bizarre and theatrical, drawing more and more attention from their neighbors and passersby. Dwight and his followers name it Tamaray, Egypt of the West.
If you were coming into Putnam County on Georgia Highway 142, all of a sudden there are pyramids out there in the middle of a cow pasture. It was very unusual.
Have you seen their property out there?
Oh, I've seen it.
What do you think?
I think it's kind of strange.
Though the neighbors are confused by the strange new community, the compound isn't disruptive. The grounds stay tidy.
I'm trying to figure out where they get all this footage from.
Where they getting white people from?
There's no noise and no trouble. It's strange to look at, yes, but it appears harmless. But the truth is not what it seems, and what's really going on behind these walls is far more disturbing. 2 years after joining the Nuwaubian community, Nikki finally feels settled in her new home. But then, one day, one of York's wives finds Nikki alone on the grounds. She calls her over urgently, leading her to a private room. And that's when the woman tells the young teenager something she never expected.
One of the wives, she had a conversation with me and said, York would be the person that would teach me about sex, and she would help me and talk to me because, you know, these are things that you want to know as a growing woman.
In a state of shock, Nikki doesn't know what to do or how to feel. She just listens. Maybe this is normal, and every other young girl in the community gets the same talk from Dwight York as part of his teachings. After all, he is the respected leader, the prophet.
One of the things that he told us is the person who takes your virginity, that's the person that you're always going to be connected to and loyal to.
That's when the 45-year-old York comes in and locks the door behind him, leaving him and Nikki.
Okay, let's do some more math. When they locked up Pops, he was 58. They can just do this. That's what's so crazy.
Mm-hmm.
They can just do it. And it's a big-ass video. 580,000 views. All right, 58 minus 45. Wait, no, that's not the math I need to do. Is it going in? He was 45. They say he's 45, so then... Okay, yeah, 58 minus 45. That'll be 13. So it'll be 13, a 13-year time span. That's more wrong math. So this would have had to have taken place according to what they said.
What math are you doing right now?
That's what I'm about to explain. This would have had to taken place between 1993 to 2001. So if he was 45 but they locked him up when he was 58. That's a 13-year time span. So there are not 13 years between 1993 to 2001 or 2002. Correct? 1993. Yep, that would have been 2006. So that'll make sense. There's another lie. So 45 age, the 45 age scene. That's a lie. It don't even make sense mathematically. Let's keep learning.
Nikki alone in the room. The young teenager looks at the man she calls her father. Something feels wrong. Suddenly, a strong sense of fear washes over her. In that moment, the trust she once had in him shatters.
And he was just like, it's not a big deal. Like, why are you making this a big deal? It wasn't something that I wanted to do, and he just kind of held me down and just did it. I was miserable.
I'm sorry, but she doesn't sound like a victim. You know what I'm saying? If somebody held you down and you're saying that they like just full on raped you, you're not gonna say like, oh, he kind of sort of just, did this, and no, you're gonna be like, no, this is what he did. Do you get what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying. I grew up knowing what you're saying.
Okay.
So, I'd rather you say it than I say it and sound insensitive.
I just feel like actual victims will know, like they're gonna, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna say, like, if you're outing, you're finally getting your revenge, or you're finally not even revenge, like you're finally talking in your truth what happened to you. It's
Right.
not gonna be like, oh, he kind of just kissed me, and I mean, like, damn, you're gonna make these people start, victim blaming, like, oh, she sounded like she wanted it, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I'm just being realistic. No, you're gonna say, this is what he did to me. This person who has so much power and so much authority over so many women and have brainwashed people, because that's what she said ultimately in the whole documentary. But I'm just saying, like, you're gonna say, like, this is what he did to me, and this is what he did to others, and this is what it was like, whether you want to hear it or not. But go ahead.
I hear you.
It wasn't something that I wanted to do, and he just kind of held me down and just did it. I was miserable. I used to write him many letters saying that I hated my life. And, I wish I wasn't born, but there's nothing I could do about it. This is someone who, for all of my life, was our leader, our master teacher. So when you have that ingrained in you, you don't want to leave.
The world she thought she understood, the people she thought she could rely on, all feels different now. Everything has changed, and there's no going back. Nikki stays quiet, trapped by the rules and by the eyes constantly surveying her, making sure she stays loyal and doesn't disrespect the leader by going against his teachings. With no one to turn to, not even her own mother, it feels like there's nowhere else to go.
It completely starts out with gaining their trust. Your parent is telling you that this is God and this is our Savior. So they believed they were supposed to do whatever they needed to do to please him.
Nikki lives in fear, harboring the secret that she...
Sure.
All right, what is that inflection in the tone that he's speaking in?
Huh?
Like the tone that he's speaking in, when he say Nikki has nowhere to go and this and that and the third and yada 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 this and yada yada that. Like, what is that tone called? Is that monotone?
I don't know.
I was asking because like when you speak in that way, it's like
Hypnosis.
you're right, exactly. Right.
Yeah.
Tells no one. Everyone in the community acts normally, praising Dwight York, worshiping their leader, not knowing the darkness this man possesses. But as the teenager grows up, something inside her tells her that she's not alone.
I started seeing the patterns of certain things. It started to remind me of how miserable I was when things started happening to me.
York's power has only grown, unchallenged and out of sight. A part of Nikki knows she needs to escape to save herself and the other children, but the fear of leaving behind everything she knows, everything she has ever had, is strong.
First of all, Nikki got put off the land. She got put out, from what I heard. So, lady, you didn't run nowhere. You got put off the land.
Having been herself a victim of Dwight York is one thing, but seeing the same thing happening to younger children is another. In spite of years of manipulation and grooming, Nikki can still see how wrong everything is.
I'm just waiting to see when they say she left. I'm waiting on which number they're going to use now.
Time, she realizes that she needs to escape, not just for her sake, but for all the other girls who need to be protected.
Being in a space that's supposed to be holy and pure.
Right, she got exiled. Okay, cool. Lady, you ain't leaving nowhere. Oh, that's my mama too, for the sister who asked if we can get some sisters on here. That's my mama. She could talk about it. I don't know if she want to come up right now.
I
But
can't see any of the comments. Like the
okay.
last comment I see is from Karmic Tarot, the spiritualist, and it says, "We belong here. They don't belong here."
That's a long time ago.
Right.
But yeah, she in there though.
And protected and happy, but we're miserable. Times keep getting worse and worse, and I was scared to leave because I'm not going to be protected. I don't know anything on the outside, but some parts of me was like, I'm willing to go to the unknown.
However, her mother doesn't see it that way. For her, the community is what saved her and her kids from the dangers of the world. So when Nikki gathers up the courage to confess her plan, her mom's reaction takes her by surprise. The side she has chosen is not her daughter's. And that's when a campaign of intimidation and pressure begins, led mainly by York, but also by her own mother. Despite the heartache, Nikki tries to stay strong. With no family on the outside to help her, she tracks down a former cult member, now living in Atlanta, who offers her a place to stay while she reaches safety. Meanwhile, York is furious to see one of his daughters trying to leave him. The betrayal is huge, and his pride is on the line. Nikki, by openly rejecting him, has cornered him. That's when York takes an unprecedented decision. In an attempt to save face, Nikki is not leaving him. He is the one kicking her out.
Oh, so that's how they integrated in.
Mm-hmm.
So she did have to say she got kicked out. Girl.
So you didn't escape.
That also fuck up their whole thing.
Right. So she didn't escape. She got exiled. So if you want to put it that way, like.
Then you got, okay. I'm just going to write the word exile.
Because that's ultimately what it is.
She had to add that.
Mm-hmm.
She had to add this shit in there because you're going to have to explain you was exiled for fucking with underage dudes. And you put that in your transcript. So fuck what you talking about in these documentaries. In the transcript, you said you was fucking with young boys. And you was 20-something years old. And they was 13 and 14 and 12. You said this. It ain't like somebody accused you. You on record saying it. So
why didn't they add that in the documentary? Okay, you mentioned that she got exiled. That debunks the fact that she did not escape. But why didn't y'all put in why she got exiled? Like the real reason?
Because that ain't gonna help them destroy his name.
I mean, of course, that's obvious, but I'm just saying, like, it's just crazy. We getting into the meats and potatoes of this, and like every lie is just, it's really mind wrecking. I hope somebody really, please do that breakdown on the documentary. Please put that
I'm
on
gonna have
YouTube.
to.
Please, because this is really crazy.
I'm gonna have to. I got you. So the exile thing is a lie. Meaning, like, the way they kicked it, that's a lie. He didn't kick you out to save face. You know why he got put out. Same reason why Jacob York got put out of the community.
So you wouldn't
According
escape.
to Dr. Melikazi York, Jacob York got put out of the community for molesting somebody. And I read one of the letters that Pops wrote, or Malachi wrote to one of the sisters, and said, "Don't worry." This was recent in 2022. He wrote that letter. He said, don't worry, the truth will come out eventually about the real molesters. And he named Yaqub Muhammad, who is Jacob York, and said he got put out of the community for molesting somebody. So Nikki Lopez also got kicked out. I don't care what nobody say. We remember that. And what it was for, meaning I remember like the talks in the community. What it was for, because she was fucking with Kush. That was the main dude. And I got the paperwork where he admits it. I have the filing. They filed this in court. The courts denied it as new evidence. But they just filed that in court this year. So when I was talking, even Kush got on the live one time, was trying to say I was making stuff up. But he just put it on record in court. So, yeah.
The day I left, I was scared enough and feel like this is it. If I'm gonna die, then at least I made that one thing that
If you gonna die,
because I didn't have any choices.
Who is that talking right now? Nikki?
Then Nikki. Then if you just see her, and I'm gonna show you her face. And all the sisters, any sister who has experienced anything for real, please forgive me. You know what I mean? I'm not attempting to trigger you in any way, anything like that. I just want to show you the lady face. I just want to show you her face while she experiencing her theatrical break. Look at her face. See, I'm a subconscious reader, right? That's not mystical, meaning like body language, stuff like that. I study it. I know what a wince is. I know if somebody's smiling and they're not really smiling. Most of the time when people smile, you'll see the corners of their eyes crink up. Right? Okay.
Right.
This is the brain trying to decide how to appear sad. That's why it's not completely upside down. It's just deciding. This is also me thinking, am I believable right now? So I'm looking down to the left. I'm not looking in the camera. I'm not welling up with no tears. I have this tissue for theater. Even that breath that was just taken, we noticed stuff like that.
If I'm gonna die,
the breath was forced. You know, you get choked up when you cry. That happens, and you can be like, all right, you know what I mean? And it starts. You don't force no breath. Like, oh, I got to talk about this.
then at least I made that one thing that choice of my own, because I didn't have any choices. I had to do what I was told the whole time.
See, that's her. So all that, I didn't have any choice. Like, you got kicked out. You got kicked out. Why won't you tell the truth? Well, you can't tell the truth, and then all these documentaries that Nikki Lopez did, she never once brought up her transcript. Bring up your transcript of how you was fucking with these little boys. Bring it up. Why you don't ever bring it up in none of these documentaries? How it don't make sense what you saying, but it makes sense that he would kick you out if you got caught doing some shit you weren't supposed to do. That makes sense. And you're on record saying you did some shit you weren't supposed to do, and they gave you immunity. It don't look good for Nikki. They thought it was over. It's not over.
Her mission is clear: expose the disturbing truth about York's cult and save the children still trapped at the compound.
Boom. No children were trapped at the compound. So I'm going to count that as another lie.
The crazy part is, on transcript, which is like, you know, court documented.
There's a court doc, yep.
You sat here and willfully admitted to molesting little boys, right?
There you go.
But then you got immunity. So what did you do? Because, you know, it's always I scratch your back if you scratch my situation. So what did you have to do in order to get that immunity, because that's not something small. If they're trying to take down a
You
corporation,
had to
or
take down Dr. York. You had to lie on him.
of course, but that's the ding ding ding.
There you
That's
go.
crazy.
There you go.
Why
And we're
didn't
gonna
they
listen to
take you
Habiba
down?
Washington's. We're gonna listen to Habiba Washington recant his statement after this.
That's crazy.
All right. So far we got all these. We almost done with this bullshit.
Before it's too late.
No children were trapped on the compound. That's another lie.
But unbeknownst to her, the FBI is already on it. For years, the FBI has been quietly building a case against the cult leader ever since they started receiving the most unusual phone calls from across the country. Calls from parents who all had missing children.
We would get.
All right. So they just lied again. So remember why they said the FBI got involved?
Say that again.
You remember why they originally said the FBI got involved?
They originally said because of the kids, right?
Yeah. The kids
Yeah,
what?
the 200 or
No.
dozens
They
of missing
said
kids.
because of kids was hospitalized.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
that's
They
what
said
made
the
them
FBI quickly
put
got
their
involved.
eyes
Remember
on
that?
them.
They said the FBI quickly got involved because children were being hospitalized and coming up pregnant at 11 years old.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now they're saying the FBI got involved because of missing children,
And not when the kids was showing up at the
not the
hospital
hospital
no
thing.
more. Mm-hmm.
Listen, I'm telling you, they don't know us. We're not letting this go. It's not over.
Calls from a mother or a father. My daughter's down there in a cult. I can't get in touch with her. I don't know what's happened. Can you try to find out for me?
Now, my daughter's down there in the cult. I don't know what happened to her. I can't get in touch with her. Your daughter's down there in the cult. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
How? How would you know that? You talking about a child? Your child called and said, "Hey, I'm in a cult." No, this is an adult that you would be talking about.
And that would be kidnapping.
It would have been. Look what I'm saying. You can talk to an adult. An adult can explain to you what they're into. Hey, yo, Tah,
Two on right here.
bring back on. It froze.
Why?
All right.
Should I come back too, or?
No, you good. If yours froze, then that's a whole different thing. You know what I'm
Yeah, I
saying?
can't read no comments if that's what y'all mean.
I mean, do you need to?
To be honest, no, not really.
All right. Yeah. That, you know, that's a whole different thing, though. I understand what you're saying. You good.
If you wanna reset it, you can.
No, I'm good. Go ahead. Let's keep looking at the lies.
All right. Cool. So, like I said, if somebody's talking to their adult child and the child is telling them about Egyptians and deities and stuff like that, and they're Christian, then they might be like, my child is in a cult. I need to go get my child. Or somebody I ain't heard from them. Well, other than that, you wouldn't know because the little child ain't gonna be able to call you and say, "Mama, I'm down here in a cult." You see what I'm saying? So it
Yeah,
goes
try to
from
wording it.
it goes from, it don't make sense. It goes from these are children missing to now you know where they at. You know they're in a cult. They just lied. So cult calls, cult phone calls, lie. Just put children. Because what the fuck? Who child gonna be like, "Mama, I'm down here in a cult"?
But I would go there. There's always an armed guard at the gate.
There's always an armed guard at the gate.
You know, they wouldn't let you on the property.
They wouldn't let you on the property, and you're the sheriff. You saying like you can't do nothing about that? No, you don't. You don't have to let people on the property, including the police. The police show up on your property. You don't have to let them on your property. Is that clear? Everybody's in?
That's true, but if they feel like, and we know, if they feel like you got some kids up in the property and you
They're
won't let them
coming
up there,
on.
they're gonna go get a subpoena so they can search the
Exactly.
property.
They're gonna come back with a warrant, and as
Yeah,
long as they have like what they call it, exigent, something like that. The exigent. What's the word, y'all? Somebody help me out. Extingent or something like that. I gotta look it up to make sure I give you the right word. I think it's exigent. Yeah, circumstances. Exigent circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Under exigent circumstances or emergency circumstances, they can come on your property and serve that warrant and all of that. So you're right. They would have had that. No, you coming to talk to them about some children going missing. You just want to talk. Get out of here.
At that time, I didn't know what was going on.
Then, doctors from the surrounding area started sounding the alarm. They were uncovering a horrific pattern. Girls as young as 11 years old.
They told it backwards now. They said the FBI got involved from hearing that. Now they saying FBI was already involved because children were missing, and then they brought up. You see that?
Were showing up at hospitals pregnant. As they traced their locations, they all came from one place, the Nuwaubian compound.
They traced the locations of all these young girls. They traced the locations. What the fuck does that mean? They left footprints? Do you see how stupid this shit is?
And not to one man, but to the compound.
To the compound.
Yep, that's what they said.
Investigation into York, there's growing concern about the potential violence and innocent lives that could be lost if the FBI confronts the community leader directly at the compound.
We have received information over the years.
That's a lie. They planned the raid for 3 a.m. It didn't happen that way. He would have been on the compound or on the land. So that's a lie. Oh, they were trying to save the children. They didn't want it to happen like Waco.
He had a stockpile of weapons. We were concerned about a shootout.
York becomes increasingly aggressive and reckless, appointing armed guards to guard.
That's a lie. They weren't concerned about a shootout. Jacob York himself told me on the phone that he went down there to the sheriff department and talked to them and explained that we weren't gonna be no dangerous people and all this stuff. They weren't worried about no guns. They main boy was telling them you ain't gonna need all that guns, explosive, all that. But that's what they were originally talking about coming through with, according to Jacob York.
Guard the gate, while the locals of Putnam County become even more wary of their strange neighbors as things escalate.
When I went by there one morning, they're marching around with guns, and I just don't think that's the thing to have.
You just don't think that's the thing to have. You don't think guns are the thing to have when guns are constitutionally supported in the ownership of them. So you just think guns aren't the things to have, or you think melanin dominant people who have the ability to arm themselves, protect themselves and their land to stop what the fuck y'all done before when people get their own land, which you come on with your guns, your shotguns, and you shoot the Native Americans, all while singing songs like they're savages, barely even human, savages, and y'all the only ones with the fucking guns. So you don't think guns are the things to have in Confederate hunky town where all y'all have guns? You see?
Yep.
You've met with armed individuals who claim that they're not subject to your laws. Armed conflict is usually instantaneous.
We're going after the leader of a cult. How are we going to do this? How do you infiltrate a cult?
It's clear that something sinister is happening at the compound, but with no
So we say, how do you infiltrate a cult?
witnesses willing to talk about it, authorities are left in a tough spot. Both the FBI and law enforcement in Georgia don't want to have a repeat of Waco.
We have what appears to be a fire going on right now, raging at the Branch Davidian compound.
In 1993, in Waco, Texas, just 1 year before the investigation on the Nuwaubian
I think I'm done with this shit.
Now, he faced conspiracy. In 2015, Nikki starts an organization called What's Your Elephant, which uses the arts as an avenue to challenge social norms. For the last 20 years, Nikki has positively influenced her community. Dwight York called himself a leader, but Nikki actually became one.
Get the fuck out of here.
He had us fooled.
Nikki must have typed this shit up.
He never cared about us. He took advantage of our work, our bodies, our minds. Now that he's in prison, he's living how he forced us to live while he took advantage of us.
Man, that shit is
He
crazy
have
as
the
fuck.
last say in that.
That shit is insane, bro.
It's finna be over. I'm feeling it all in my bones now. I'm feeling it. Nikki not gonna get away with it either. She ain't gonna get away with it either.
No, because she contradicting herself. For one.
That's crazy.
Walk with their head high, pursue their dreams.
Oh, that's Habiba. They got Habiba on there for.
Federal prison
For no
sentence
reason.
on lockdown for
Cause
23 hours a day. He has
Habiba, the whole
exhausted
time,
all his
Habiba already
appeals,
been
and
saying
that's where
what
he
she
will
said.
remain. Justice has been
Now
served
we
for
turning
these
her statement.
victims. What that sentence does too is assures these people that they can now walk with their head high, pursue their dreams.
After York's conviction,
They can pursue their drink. Okay, let's go to Habiba Washington. Recanted statement. What is this? It says you said.
I'm still here.
All right. Remember we talked about whether or not she was paid. So we're gonna see. We're gonna pay attention for a few things. Statements made about whether or not she was coerced, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Pay attention to that. And we're also going to pay attention to the fact that she goes into a lot of detail. So somebody pay you to say, okay, I lied. That's different. When you sit for 30 minutes and go into detail about how you lied, that's a totally different thing. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
All right, here's her.
I am here to put on record the truth behind all of the lies brought up in the case against Malachi York. I'm going to start off by saying that I'm not being forced, threatened, coerced, or pressured to do this tape. I am also going to state that, as you can tell, I'm not under any kind of influence, alcohol or drug. I want to begin with all of the events that led up to the final verdict in the case against Malachi. I want to start off with how it started, where it started, when, and the reason why. I left the community in February of 2001. I moved from Georgia and I went to New York and lived with my family. In about March of 2001, I was contacted by Jacob. Jacob is the son of Malachi York. He's also an ex-member. Jacob contacted me, and our conversation was basically about the good times that we had in the community, what we went through, how we grew up, just making up for old times. 2 months after that, Jacob called me. This was in May. Jacob called me about a trip to Florida. A trip where a lot of some of the girls and boys that were going down, ex-members that were going to go down to Florida just to hang out, to have fun, or whatever. I agreed to go on the trip. I told Jacob that I would come on the trip. I left from New York, went to Georgia. We all met up at Jacob's house. It was me, Jacob, Nicole Lopez, Noah Rashid, East, Esther, probably some other girls and boys that I don't remember. Before we actually went down to Florida, I had a conversation with Jacob outside of his house, and Jacob brought up some feelings that he had about his father. Jacob was really upset with his father. He stated that he hated his father, that he felt that his father doesn't need to be alive, that he should not he shouldn't even be given life. He felt that his father needs to just rot in jail. Jacob wanted all of us, meaning me, Nicole, Karima. He was talking to a couple of people, different people that.
Keep in mind, Nicole is Nikki, the girl who just in the other documentary
left the community. He wanted us to bring a case against his father.
Okay, so far she's going into detail. She's specifying who she's speaking about. She said Jacob York wanted them all to bring a case against his father, who was Dr. Malachi York. If she gonna say it was all lies, why is she involving Jacob York? If she not telling the truth, you get what I'm saying? She's involving Jacob York in it.
That's motive too. The motive to lie. This is
There you go. Exactly.
Jacob told me that some of the girls and boys that left the community had went to the government about different things that was going on in the community, meaning child molestation. Before I left the community, I was the main person in charge of the finances, as well as in charge of anything that went on with the community, the living, eating, anything, the financial, anything that happened regarding any of the members in the community. I dealt with that, so I was basically in charge. Jacob told me that the FBI knew who I was and that they were told about certain things that I've done in the community, and some of those things I can be incriminated for. Jacob told me that if I don't go to the FBI first, then they would come after me, they would incarcerate me, they would take my children away from me, because there are things that...
Okay, what is that called? That's called coercion. That's called, she was threatened. You see? She was threatened for whatever it was that she did. I don't know about what Habiba did. I heard about some stuff, but I can't really remember right now. But she did some stuff she wasn't supposed to do. And Jacob went to the FBI and told on her. And said, now this, I already done told on you. Now this is how you get out of it. You got to help me take my dad down. You see? I mean, it's right here. This is from 2004. 2 years after the arrest. I think 5 days after the verdict, if I'm not mistaken.
They were told about me that could incriminate me. When Jacob first talked to me about that, I was not interested in bringing out any charges against his father. I didn't see any reason. I didn't believe that anything was going on. I didn't believe that anything was wrong. We wasn't doing any criminal acts. Jacob brought up the fact that I had a son by his father at 17 years old. I told Jacob that my son with his father was never, it never came about because I was forced to have sex with his father. I was 17 years old, and yes, I did agree to having a child with his father at that age. I understood my age, I understood his age. I didn't see anything wrong with it. I consented to it. So I told Jacob that that's the way that I felt. I didn't feel...
Okay, so what she's explaining, I also didn't know much about when I was younger. So I asked when I got older, what was up with that? And it was being explained to me that the age for someone being grown at that time was 16. It wasn't 18. So she was an adult.
She said she was 17 when she had their child.
Yeah. Actually, she said around 17 or 18. When, I don't know if she says it in here, but I think she said around 17 or 18 or something like that. Either way, that would have been an adult. Now, I tell people in today's day, a lot of people acting like this, that, and the third. But in all actuality, it wasn't long ago before people were saying, even some of y'all, at 16, I'm grown. Because the law was saying 16 years old was grown. 16 years old, you were able to consent. 16, people made rap songs, what do you call it? Just songs. Sweet 16, she's 16 now. That it was grown. 16 was 18, not
That's
too
like
long ago.
Spanish people have the quinceañeras. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Okay, so I tell people, even your vantage point of today of whether or not she was 17, of being underage. That's not underage in that day. That day would have been like 19 today. Even still, you don't have to agree with that. You can say that's, oh, she's still young. Da, da, da. You can say that. He can't be locked up for that.
But if you
You
look at
see?
cultural and history and other places, just nationwide, that is it's younger overseas. They're a lot younger. They have their own, cultural differences. The women are usually like around 13. In other countries 13, 14, 15 is that, but she was 17 going on 18 or 18 years old. She said she knew what she was doing. She was aware of it. She didn't see
And
a
her
problem
parents
with it.
were involved with it.
Yeah.
It wasn't just her. Her
But
parents
I
were
do
also.
have a question though,
Yeah, go ahead.
because they said that her mother ended up marrying him. So she went on to be a wife too, or is that true?
This is a different girl.
Okay, the last one was Nikki and this is
That was
Nicole.
Nikki. This is Habiba.
Okay, that's Habiba. I thought this
Yeah,
was
she
Nicole.
mentioned the word Nicole or
Oh,
the name
okay.
Nicole, and I was telling y'all Nicole is Nikki.
Oh, okay. All right. So
This is
this is
Habiba or
Habiba.
Abigail.
Okay, so this is a whole different woman. So
Whole
yeah,
different
go
woman.
ahead and play. But she didn't see nothing wrong with the age. I don't see nothing wrong with the age when you're, when you're younger, like you look up to men, as leaders and stuff like that. Like I don't see a problem with that. But go ahead.
Even if somebody did, he can't be in jail for it.
Yeah, that was the age. That
Well,
was beyond the age of
he can't. Yeah,
consent.
he can't be in jail. Exactly. He can't be. So far, they done tried to use that, and the only child that would have been of that what they were trying to say was a Bieber child, and she
Hmm.
was of age. They lied. So all right, let's keep going. And then you have to take into consideration, especially with people that didn't live there and live around. This man has all this stuff going on. We're not stupid.
Hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Like you have, even with they were talking about all them 11-year-old girls going to the hospital, you would be insinuating that he's retarded. You see? That he would have his own compound, land, get these people pregnant, and send them to the hospital.
Right. A
You
man
see what I'm
that
saying?
educates his whole nation and want to live on his own. You don't think he had any nurses,
Doulas, come
OBGYNs?
on.
Yeah, exactly. Doulas.
Is it doula?
I want to say doulas. I just call them like I forgot what it's called. My
The
my best friend had a
midwives.
water birth.
The
Yeah,
midwives.
a midwife. That's the word that I was
Yeah.
looking for. Midwife.
You see, it's all lies. We're gonna listen to the rest of it. She telling you though.
So that anything wrong happened, that we both agreed to it. I felt that I was an adult. It was my decision, and I went with it. Um, but Jacob proceeded to say that there were some things that some of the other members, some of the other ex-members had went to the government with, and that I should really, really talk to them and see what's up and see how I can clear my name so that I'm not prosecuted for any of those things. We all went to Florida after that conversation, and during our trip to Florida, we had several conversations in the car with Jacob. There was some other boys that were there, and Jacob started talking about going on the land and taking some of the kids, just kidnapping some of the children off the land. He was talking about my sister. My sister was still there. My youngest sister, Easter, was still there. And he wanted us to just go up there and just take her and take some of the other little girls and boys off the land because he didn't feel that they should be living on the land with his father. But we had all agreed that that was not going to happen. None of us was interested in going up on the land and kidnapping anybody. So Jacob said, well, then we can just do it the legal way. He started bringing up different things in the community, like how we grew up, how we lived. He brought up the fact that he was in love with Nicole, and he felt that because Nicole liked his father, that it was a betrayal, and that his father's the one that was responsible for it. Jacob felt that his dad was responsible for his mother's death and his brother's death, and he really, really felt that he needed.
Boom. Did you catch that?
Mm-hmm.
You know what part I'm talking about?
He's talking about the fact that he felt like he was angry. It was
He
his
had a
father's
thing
fault
going
that
on
his
with
mother
Nikki.
died.
Not that part. He had a thing going on with Nikki.
And he had a big crush on her. And he was upset
And
about it.
Nikki had a crush on his dad.
Mm-hmm.
You see? Nikki don't say nothing like that, did she?
She didn't say that, but I'm just more mind blown that he felt like he had something to do, or that situation had something to do with his mother passing away. Like, that's a big accusation too.
He blamed his dad for her passing away, and
Yeah,
not
that's.
just one way. In a way of I think he didn't go to the funeral. His
Mm-hmm.
mom suffered an aneurysm, from what I was told, and it was said they probably didn't go to the funeral. Malachi didn't attend the funeral or something like that. He was mad at him for that, and he blamed his dad for her passing away. You see,
Mm-hmm. And that's
and he
crazy.
was So this is vengeance, motive, vengeance, spite, hatred. I mean,
And
stuff
then
I don't know anything
the
about.
girl you likes your dad.
Yeah, it's a lot.
To take revenge on his father, and he was not able to do it, but we were able to do it because we were there longer and we were closer to his dad than he was.
Mm.
So Jacob had a conversation with me and Karima and Nicole. Nicole had a lot of disgruntled issues, talking about Nicole Lopez, had a lot of issues with Jacob's dad because, for one, she was kicked out and she felt that it was wrong that she was kicked out because she didn't have anywhere to go, she didn't know anybody, and that after all of the years that she lived in the community, he kicked her out, meaning Malachi kicked her out, and she had nowhere to go. So she was kind of mad about that.
Boom. You see, not mad about
Mm-hmm.
he did something to her. Mad that she got kicked out.
Yep.
You get y'all paying attention?
Yep. Another motive. That was the motive.
That's called motive.
Mm-hmm.
So because you already mad that you got removed, now
Mm-hmm.
he did something to you. Watch the game.
Everybody started venting in the car about different things that we didn't like. It didn't have nothing to do with child molestation. Had nothing.
Boom. Different things that you didn't like.
Yep. Like the sugar. We talked about the sugar earlier today.
Yep. Now everybody got something to say about something they don't like, for how
Mm-hmm.
this was going and that was going. Not about what he did to you, because he didn't do anything to you. It's
Mm-hmm.
about things you didn't like. You didn't like the food over here. You didn't like this situation. Stuff he didn't have any control over. You didn't like how this was going. You don't like how this person treated you. Stuff he didn't have no control over, but you blame him for it.
Mm-hmm.
So y'all emotions are getting riled up for y'all to make a decision that a lot of
Mm-hmm.
y'all ended up regretting.
To do with any criminal acts. It was just different things that, normal things that you don't like about growing up, or we might have had an argument with Malachi here and there, and we brought up the situation. Jacob kind of fed off of that anger, and he convinced all of us that we should take that anger and we should go to the government with a story about his father.
Sounds familiar to me. You see? And all it takes is one person to get everybody else riled up. And next thing you know, everybody got something to say. And if they want to, they can tell everybody, let's go to the government with a story.
Mm-hmm.
Because listen, and I'm no disrespect to the sisters, sometimes all it takes is for a sister to feel slighted once. And she will take that one emotion to the grave
Mm-hmm.
and never repent or retract or pull back a statement. She will take it to the grave because after she done went so hard on it to even tell the truth, she don't want to deal with that responsibility. So now everybody got something to say. Pay attention. So watch out, because that same situation can evolve from, look, another thing that they have to do. They'll accuse you of something. You get accused. Then nobody wants to talk about the accusation. Everybody want to talk about all this other stuff. It has absolutely nothing to do with the accusation. They'll talk about what happened Wednesday when he wore the white slippers instead of the black ones. We don't like the black ones, you know, or we do like the white ones, or we do like the black ones. What does it have to do with the accusation? Right. So they'll accuse him, say, and then he teaches about UFOs. Deal with the accusation. What him teaching about UFO have to do with the accusations? They spend more time talking about whether or not we're a cult than they do focusing on the case. Mm-hmm. Because there is no case. That's the biggest damn whammy of all. There's no case. He's in there off of hearsay. All this other stuff is TV, clearly. We just went through that documentary and we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 lies that I wrote down. And that's just because I ain't feel like watching all that shit. Mm-hmm. 22 lies that I could do a whole dissertation on from this documentary that they got everybody out here bugging out about. Even the YBs of being like, we need to do something. I'm like, why y'all stressing? This is good news. They just fucked up. They fucked up in 4K. You see, I just want to point this out to y'all that that's how it happens. And you have to start paying attention to motive. Somebody say you did something to them. All right, this person did something to you, especially when they got some type of seat or position of power or authority or celebrity, anything. You don't have to be no big celebrity. You can have like 500-some thousand followers. Still be big enough. You notable in the communities. Somebody did something to you and you maintain contact. This is challenging credibility. Somebody did something to you, but you still want to be around. That's a challenge of credibility. Somebody did something to you, say this person did something to you, the next thing you know, the same situation and circumstances that you said these things were done in, you participated in more of those same exact circumstances that you say this thing was done in. And there's been no complaints, no issues, no nothing, no reports, no filings, no nothing. And then y'all get into it. Some type of argument, disagreement, and now all of a sudden this person did something to you. That's motive. It's challenge of credibility. It's motive. It's spite. It's all kind of stuff. So that's why I'm telling people, watch that. This is what happened. And you got a bunch of people trying to back each other up and support each other's stories and da-da-da-da. But then they start realizing, well, okay, like Pauline Rogers said, was someone who went on one of the shows, Montel Williams. She said she didn't know we were going to lose the land. She wanted to hurt him. She didn't know the raid, all that stuff was going to happen to us. So she was retracting her statement about that. You see, so there's a lot of people that came back around later and they were like, we know we did wrong. Remember Judas in the story had to change her heart. Mm-hmm. And he tried to do what? He tried to get her money back. And they were like, that's blood money.
Yeah, we don't want that.
We all went down to Florida and we had fun. We did our thing. On our way back.
Tell the truth. Had fun, did our thing, mean y'all had group sex. A bunch of y'all had group sex. Mm-hmm. Tell the truth.
Well, she said that the people that weren't a part of it anymore, they decided to go to Florida, get together. I already knew what it was.
Yeah, we did our thing. Y'all had a bunch of group sex. A bunch of orgies. That's what it was.
From Florida, the trip back from Florida, we was driving in Jacob's car again. It was myself, Karima, Nicole, Farah, Noah Rashid, and some other driver. I don't remember his name. And Jacob brought up the conversation again, how he thinks that we should really go to the government with a story about his father.
Go to the government with a story about his father.
Anything that we didn't like in the community, we should go, because his father needed to be in jail. His father did not do good things. He was not happy with his father, and he really felt that a case should be brought up against his father. He really felt that his father should be put away for life, that he did not deserve to live. that conversation subsided, and we finally made it back to Georgia from Florida. And Jacob had a conversation with me again, and he told me that there were certain children that did go to the FBI about different things with myself, and that there was no way I would be able to prove that it didn't happen.
Boom. Different things with who? Herself.
The only way I can make any good of it is to go to the FBI with a story, seek immunity, and
seek what?
Immunity.
And just go from there. I still told Jacob that I was not interested in.
So do you get what you see what's happening?
Mm-hmm.
The things they were doing, Jacob went and told on them. You get it?
Mm-hmm.
And when he went and told on them, he came back and said, I told on y'all. And you can't prove that it didn't happen, so you got to help me now. He put this shit together and set them up and threatened them with losing their family and losing their children and being locked up. This nigga Jacob set all this shit up.
And who's to say that that was even true to begin with, though?
What about the fact that he told on them?
Like, he went back and told them, like, he gathered them together and told them this information, but was it even true? Did he really go and lie and say all of this stuff?
Ain't no telling.
Or did he just say that to put fear in their heart to make them?
See, ain't no telling.
Yeah.
Ain't no telling. What I do know is that Sheriff Steele said that nigga came to them and said, I know how to take down my dad. Because they had nothing. All that the FBI had a case, all that is lies. They had nothing. They had to take it to the feds. And the way that they took it to the feds from the state was they were saying transportation of minors across state lines. You see?
But where's the proof in that, though? Like,
there's no proof in that. He didn't drive nobody down here.
Right. So y'all just let this man take a whole bunch of kids across. There was no Amber Alerts. Well, of course not back then, but
for
like,
years.
That's crazy.
And for years.
And he don't got no abduction charges or nothing?
Nothing.
That's crazy.
No. He just has transportation of minors across state lines with the intent to commit illicit acts. He's not in there for child nothing. That's a lie. That's not one of his charges. Another one of his charges was money, some money shit. Money this, money that. I can't remember what it was. But I think it was money something. Not laundering, but some other money shit. And Mann Act and some other shit. But he ain't in there for no child, none of that. They lie. So people out here pushing that, they just lying.
That would be abduction, if anything. That should have been one of the biggest.
That should have been one of the charges.
Yeah, one of the biggest charges that made headlines. Well, that's crazy.
Yep. And statutory rape.
Yeah, because he was having sex with younger women, you know?
Yeah.
Getting 7-year-olds pregnant, right?
None of those are charges.
Where the kids at? I'm going to keep saying where the kids at.
Where the kids at? Where the charges at?
Yeah. Don't make sense.
It's all lies. Hold on. We hearing from everybody except him. I'm gonna go to his, cause you know he got calls, right? Where he talk about this stuff himself. So I'm gonna pull something up. Let us hear a little bit of that. I know it's a little late, which is also a little early.
This kind of reminds me of Kirk Franklin's son.
Who?
Kirk Franklin, the gospel singer.
I remind you like that?
No, not you. I'm talking about Jacob. This whole situation reminds me of their situation.
Oh, I haven't heard about it.
It's just long story short, son, you know, having a certain type of lifestyle or whatever, being brought up, but they're Christians, so he was brought up in a religion or whatever. But it's like now that he's older, it's like he has some vengeance against his father, so he's trying to like tear his father down. It's like that's the correlation that I'm making between the two. It just reminds me of that situation.
I see.
Now, when was that? That was way back in 1997 by Tony Rogers, where they don't want to use that because what to do, they found out that she had already admitted and came over to our side and did affidavit videotape telling the truth how his statement was he didn't have enough evidence. So by evidence, he means he needs me to do more things. So maybe he's saying I need him to do more things to children so I can get a stronger case. And wouldn't that endanger the children? So that shows right there that they're violent. That's called reckless endangerment. This man, he's a dangerous man. And whoever worked with him on the case, whether it's Lane Ward, it's Baskins, right, whoever worked with him in that period of time was saying it's far right for this dangerous man to roam the street from 1997 to 2003. And he's a dangerous children, he's a pseudo pedophile, he loves this, he does that, he does that. But we ain't gonna arrest him yet because we need to catch him doing things. So when we catch him, we can use that in court. They come up at the end of the day and we speak down in court. Mr. Murphy stands up and says we have no videotapes of Mr. York doing anything with anybody. Oh, yeah, we have a couple of videos of him going out of Red Lobster. But they never mentioned right before Red Lobster we went into a Bible store and bought Bibles. Like they don't want to tell people. They want to cut off what they want. But there's nothing me doing anything with anybody. There's no videotapes of me doing anything. No pictures of me with no chills in any form or fashion. So if you've been doing this since 1997 and generation is 2003, how's it possible you didn't catch me in any uncompromising situations ever in that period of time? How is that possible?
And if I'm not mistaken, they didn't find any DNA evidence and the medical evidence.
They found no DNA evidence. They took pillows and blankets and sheets and stripped them, and they had to admit there's no DNA. And I was performing all these illicit acts on this pillow, there would be some DNA. Sakina Parham's mother wanted to tell the truth about her daughter, and she has a lot of information that we have since put on a affidavit tape. And a bunch of other witnesses who he was trying to avoid getting on the stand. As far as Jake Sister getting up there in prison, mentioning money, yes, these people were getting up, they were getting concessions already from the government. They was on the payroll. Sakina Parham was on a payroll. Jake York or Yaqub Muhammad was on a payroll. They was all being paid or threatened, one or the other. Right. We told if you do not cooperate with us and help us put this man away, then we want you to say, we're going to take your kids away and we're going to put you in prison. We want you to go out and we want you to recruit people. You go find these people, we'll pay for it, we'll fly you around. And we got the investigation, we pulled up the receipts, we pulled up the money tabs for the flights the government was moving Sakina Parham here or moving another one here, moving there. All that's been accumulated, gathered, to verify. Jake is now on the investigation. Why? Because Little Kim is on the investigation. Little Kim goes to public because they're getting her for perjury, and then she's facing 30 years now. Where's the perjury? She says it's open record. Well, the people on the back of my album, they're the ones who are doing all the embezzlement. I didn't have anything to do with that kind of stuff. The person in the back of the album is York Young Records, which is Jake York. He calls himself, Big Papa. Right. And so that's the one that they're now investigating. Why? They're getting to find out that since his friends got on the stand in our case, but the judge won't let it go public, but we still have it in affidavit tape, where they told what took place, how they planned outside of Atlanta, what houses they met in, when they met in these houses, who gathered, how they plotted, and it was we're going to take down this man because they was going to do is promise a whole bunch of money if they succeed in taking me down. April 6th is what they said in the court. The so-called victims came to court on my behalf. That's why they closed this thing down. They got 4 people sitting there, and every one of them became unfurled. They found out that the girl called Belora, who calls herself Crystal Hardy, has a felony charge. She's in a federal facility locked down for possession of a deadly weapon and stealing a car. The children in the school in Athens have come forth, and they're starting to reveal who the boyfriend, his name is Eli, is the boyfriend of Safara LaRoche. And how he admits and they admit that she told them who took her virginity, just like she told her brother when she was in mental hospital, who testified on the stand, Pamela Roach, right? That her daughter told her she was still a virgin when she left the land and said, before I leave, I want to go down and tell Mama goodbye. Which doesn't sound like something you would say to somebody who molested you. And most of them had already perjured themselves while they was on the stand, because one of them said, namely, I think it was Safara Roach, that she lied to the grand jury.
Yes. Amanda knows how as well.
Another one admitted that her father had coerced her into it. Another one was taken from a mental institution because she's claiming to be her mother stands there. Her mother's name is Nicole Hardy, who got to stand and lied because I told her to tell launder money. That was never proved that laundered any money. And they lied to my my accountant who took over half for 30 years and so well maybe he did business under that name. He proved under that name. All those are lies.
Are you saying that you are innocent of these charges?
I'm saying I'm totally innocent. This is a long-term plot with the restrictions the community set up. Our philosophy is that they're not supposed to have sex until they're married. You follow? And they're not allowed to drink alcohol or smoke cigarettes or listen to hardcore or vulgar rap or those things or wear explicit clothes, anything of that nature. We, as Americans, have a culture that we believe in, and part of it is modesty and modest apparel. If all of these kids wanted to get involved because the lab was so open, so they would see street kids come on, and the girls have on this blonde hair and extensions and wigs and perms and tight pants and all that, they'd be attracted.
if there is a conspiracy to have you incarcerated, either by the government or by what I understand to be those who left the tribe.
Okay, the children are tools being used by the state first. The government is also being manipulated by the state. The government stepped in, right, to do the state a favor. They thought the state was lying to them. How much it feels, and a handful of his cronies down in the Okonoki Circuit area, with a bunch of, the lake people, a bunch of racists out there who's been racist. We've done research on their whole history. There's been clans and Confederates and Sherman marched through there, and they're trying to hold on to the old, good old boys mentality. They hated us from the day we popped up. So he just had to wait for the right time. He tried everything, from every kind of violation, from the doorknobs too low to the lights in the wrong places, no exit signs, and was closing everything as fast as he was built, closing as fast as he was built. Meanwhile, I had applied for my indigenous status. I could eliminate being involved with home, but I had to go ahead and continue dealing with it until that paperwork could come through. You follow? So he would block anything, and take us to court, He would lose, and he would lose, and he would lose, and he would lie, and he would alter permits, and then it just went on. When he realized that was not going to work, when that judge finally exonerated me, he had to come up with a good one, so he looked for the disgruntled children that had been thrown off the land, for all kind of things that I don't want to discuss right now, and use them.
Now, is there anything that you would like to say before we end this interview that will make the public see your side of the story that has been blatantly misrepresented over the last 2 years?
The main thing I'd like them to know is, why would they want to close the court if they have all this good filth, and the public loves filth, all this lust and all this pornography and all this child molestation? Why would they be trying to hide that? They're not trying to hide the people because the people are not kids no more. Why are they trying to keep the public from hearing this case publicly? I remember Mr. Bright, when he jumped on the case with the new indictment with 200 and something charges back about a year and a half ago, the first thing he said in the article in the Atlanta Constitution was, I want to make sure that everybody hears every detail of this case. That came out of Mr. Fred Bright's mouth in the newspaper. You can look it up. So now all of a sudden, what happened? Now all of a sudden, they don't want anybody here. They want to hide down in Brunswick, close the courts, select the jury, cable TV so they can edit away the truth. They're trying to hide truth from the public. I want the public to demand to want to see every detail of this case and monitor every detail so they can see that it's a lie. You don't want the public to see this trial. If I thought I was such a evil man, why would I want my trial public? You know what? Shouldn't I be trying to hide this? As bold as that sounds, with all that stuff they're saying, all that lust, and all that sex, and all that racketeering, when I want to have an open trial, wouldn't I be saying, great, I'm glad to have a private trial? Right. That's the thing. Give me an open trial. What the one on the rock this trial tells you right there. That I want the public to see it. And the fact that they don't tells you right there they have something they're trying to hide from y'all.
Right, and now throughout all that, throughout all the torture that you've been put through and things of that nature, now you're leading up to the court case, and it just seems from what I'm reading in the public is that now they're trying to violate your constitutional rights by allotting you a fair trial.
That's right.
And that's what this Judge C. Ashley Royal wanted to close the courtroom.
That's right. That's
what that about?
That's where my First Amendment right, my Sixth Amendment right, my Fifth Amendment right, I think my 14th Amendment right. He's just trying to close the trial because he don't want the public to hear this trial. He's lying. He's saying he's doing it to protect the children, but there's no children in the case. So that can't be the real reason. So now, what is the real reason? To keep the public from hearing the truth. When we start presenting the videotapes we got, the pictures we got of these kids in their real nature, the fact, the letters we got, the actual witnesses we got who made affidavits responsible, who raised with them, who hung out with them, not the 4 people they're talking about, the 5 people they're talking about, but another 50 other people who were there, their own mothers and fathers, their own brothers and sisters who were willing to testify that these kids is a plot for money. People who was a part of the meeting when they had the plot plan, went to Florida with them, how Jake and them transported mines across the state line from Georgia, bringing them down to Florida just to set up the plot. They're trying to hide all these facts, and the judge was helping because it's an embarrassment to the state of Georgia that went through all of this to find out everything they were doing was a lie. It was all a big plot. They got tricked by a bunch of kids. And they're calling kids, of course, most of them in their 30s now, but they're calling kids. It's embarrassment, so they got to let me fall, and you know what I'm saying? Right, same their butts. The way that's happening.
All right. So you heard that, right? All that?
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, you can, because I know it's a lot, and I'm actually pretty tired. You yourself can go in and just research. Listen to all, you listen to all of it. Listen to what they saying, listen to what we saying. And you reason out, all of it. Listen to his phone calls. Listen to when he was speaking on certain things and how he was breaking it all down. He got hours of phone calls of speaking, and explaining how this happened, that happened. They just don't like to talk about the fact that he put it on record already was what went down.
Right.
So yeah, you type in Dr. York speaks on his case and look for where it says Dr. Malachi York, free me now, speaks on his case. You'll find that. That's almost 4 hours of him talking. 3 hours 54 minutes of him talking. So you got a lot of things you can look into. Just still from what we just went over this shadow or tonight or this AM, you can see that other documentary is all lies. We did the math and everything. That doesn't even add up.
Right.
And a lot of the documentaries are like that. It's just people don't know the background, so they don't know that it's that. But they made it all up. It's lies.
Mm-hmm.
And they thought we were going to stop. That they lock him up and it'll be over. It's not over. I tell you one person I told people they weren't counting on. You want to know who they weren't counting on existing?
Who?
Me.
I'm telling you.
Because I was 3. We were the children.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? Ain't no way that this 3-year-old, you know, that's hearing about the master teacher getting locked up, ain't no way he gonna grow up to be the one that bring the whole world attention to the situation when he get the opportunity. Ain't no way.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't count on that. They didn't count on this thing being brought to the world, Nuwapu. They didn't count on us actually participating in the legal fight when we got of age. And they didn't count on any of the stuff that happens around that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not over.
They definitely didn't count on Tah dropping a banger and
They didn't
drop
count
his
on that.
name.
They couldn't have calculated that. They should look. The moment that they heard Malachi Z. York, they knew they were in trouble. They can't count. They didn't count on it, calculate it, know it was coming. None of that. Now we knew because I told everybody that was around me. I said there's gonna be an explosion with his name after June 20th. I said there's an explosion coming. Where Ty? Ty, you here? Or you with the rest? I said it was gonna be an explosion with Malachi's name. His name was gonna blow up through the algorithm. And then it happened through Tah, through 1440 Tah. You see? So, yep. All right, sister. Like I said, you can reach out to 1440 Tah about coming back on with the sisters to let them get a chance to speak, including my mother, so that we can get some things cleared up about what happened from their perspective.
Thank you. I appreciate you for taking time to break this down, do the math with me, and let me listen to some credible, sources. I really do appreciate it because
It's all up.
this opening is definitely like only your beginning. But thank you so much. And I hope y'all be safe and get some good rest.
You as well. Thank you for your questions. Peace.
Peace.